I'm here to explain development. So propping, again, might be a sign of developmental delays. Now, again, with this child, even just here, she's happy, she's social, everybody sees cute baby. But I also see a baby that's totally off to the side. Now, again, this is where you might say, oh, my baby has torticollis. Well, you know what I mean? She's too early to be put in this chair, despite that she has these kind of motor skills. It's just too much. She's not placed properly. And then to say properly, people would start stuffing and putting stuff around her head. That's not the point. If you're propping your child, these are the warning signs. And again, just cute baby. She's adorable. Everybody, this is a type of baby to me that would fall through the cracks. Because again, that social skills, cute, I don't know why doctors still think, a cute baby doesn't have problems. I'm sure many of you have seen this forever. Well, my son Graham just finished his sophomore year at ASU. The boy they said would never walk or talk. His goal before was to say mom. He just got an A+ on his Russian. His GPA now is a 3.71. And he will be doing summer school to get some courses out of the way. And he actually, he says it's not back yet. I've got to read it. He submitted a 25-page essay, 25 pages. He had to do 20. And I just posted recently on the group something that I found the way he used to write. And to know that he's got 25 pages. So I can't stress enough. Human development is the longest process ever. I'm still developing my milestones. And as long as, again, me too, I'm in the progressive stage versus regressive. That's what it's all about. I don't want to prop myself and I don't want to prop my babies. And my other son just graduated this week. So from ASU. So it's been a wild week. But because of my boys, my mission is to eradicate special needs. Now you're going to say, "Oh, Michelle, birth trauma genetics." I get all that. I can't cure SMA. I can't cure NCAGE. I can't. But at the same time, too, with the tools and techniques that are now available because of my input and other people's input as well, the way that we are not evaluating our children and should be, and helping parents, you deserve the day the child's born to have a plan. And I get this all the time, like, nobody noticed the eyes, nobody noticed this, nobody noticed that. Or I try to tell them about this. Now they're telling me it's the biggest warning sign. And I'm like, well, I've been telling you about it for months. And it's got to stop. It's really, and I sincerely mean that. You don't have to go through what I've gone through. I had no idea. I did not know that this was going to be a life. A disclaimer, as with everything, I'm a movement specialist. I will be here for you all day long in movement. I'm not a doctor. As you notice on my group, hopefully, I'm the first person to say doctors this way, from ophthalmology to orthopedists, etc. And two, also, as well as, because I'm not an authority. Like if someone asks me about nutrition, I'm not a licensed nutritionist. I know what B12 is and I know what spinach is, but I'm not the person to do that. And so, two, please be fair on my group when I see it getting away as far as people talking about modalities, which is fine. There's other modalities out there and other alternatives. But at the same time, too, if people are going into an area as a moderator that I'm not familiar with and I can't say yay or nay, I'll take the comment down. It is a group for movement lesson. I'm not saying that, oh, you can only do movement lesson. I get it. But at the same time, too, I want to make sure that you're safe in my environment. And that's why I am so involved and do the lives. Otherwise, please note that in most groups that you're on, it's moms with moms. And we're wonderful. As a mom, we're wonderful. And it's a safe environment usually and all that, but you are getting advice from someone that, again, doesn't have this type of experience. So be careful. So the reason I went over that, you really have to know your first milestones. The big 1 month markers are your absolute horizon. Again, that's that ability to take your baby and come this way and this way and this way and pass off and go down into the crib and up again. If your child's, hyper responsive or not, and again, non-responsive. Absolute horizon, for some reason, is really hard for people to get. I think it's like the easiest thing in the world, and it's one of the most important. This is one of the reasons why I really can tell if a baby's okay or not first moment of life. And I'm not saying that as a brag. If I can do it, it should be done by every professional out there. I'm not saying we all have a crystal ball, but I think a parent has a right to know, like, we have a problem. The lips will work around the mom's breast tissue. I get it. Not everybody can feed. There's NICU, there's infection, there's adoption. I don't want to. I can't stress enough how good it is for their movements, even if we did it for a couple of days to get that first milk, because you're getting those bilateral feeds and it sets up vision, it sets up spinal work, core, all of that kind of thing. And it's really important because your baby has to learn how to swallow. A baby has to learn how to eliminate waste. You don't think of those things, but eating, pooing is they didn't do that in the womb. There's no intake in the womb, and there's no elimination in breath, in food, and they have to learn those things. Why is learning how to go to the bathroom important? That's gravity. Your coccyx and fecal matter, and it goes in, and it allows that to start working. Eventually, we can control that, but we can't at first. They're learning how to see, and they're learning tummy time. These are the really, really big markers during the first month. We don't want, in this situation right there, this could be my whole presentation. Is this child learning any of that? So, does your baby even need a device? The one thing I like to say, even with adults, with affluence comes lack of movement. As we get wealthier, I'm not pruning my tree. The one big thing for adults that we're losing is ability to put our hands over our head. I'm not hanging laundry. I'm not pruning a tree. I'm not, somebody else is doing all that, or have a washing machine. Those kind of what we call habits or emotions are disappearing in our lives. It's really affecting our children. Tablet time, phone time, all of those kind of things. Again, people to do the work for us. We don't need to put this on our babies. There's no reason why your baby needs a device. Now, I get it if you're going to make a dinner and you need to keep your baby safe for a couple of minutes, or again, please, I'm not saying in this demonstration, don't use a car seat. However, when you get to the store, you need to take your baby out. They're sleeping and all this. No, you got to take your baby out. I can go right now out to dinner and every child in a car seat is in a car seat on a tabletop. And they're like, but they're there with us. I'm like, hold the baby, hold the baby. I don't want a client, hold the baby. So guess what? You had a baby, or you're getting a baby, gifts, presents, registry, stuff. Oh, it's like getting married all over again, right? And again, with affluence, do you have the latest and greatest? With affluence, if you look at the top 10 baby gifts out there, they are restricting movement on a baby. Even a diaper, bottles, but more so the swings, the vibrating things, this, that, remote control, 5 speeds, womb-like settings, swaddling. We got to stop. There was an old infomercial gal way back when, I can't remember her name, but it was like, stop the insanity. And this is where I am really with propping, and it's not optimal development. Look at the movements you're taking away from this child. And again, you'll say she likes it. Well, would she like Diet Coke too? At some point we just, I'm here to help with the understanding. I'm not here again to just say don't do it. I'm here for that. So baby container syndrome, it's actually a thing now. I didn't coin this word. Limited opportunities for movement and exploration. That's it. The best gift you can give your child is movement. Risk of plagiocephaly, which is a flat head. And again, this is why I just made the comment to someone. And she's like, yes, she's getting a flat head. Well, of course she is. She's just like flat head is sort of like the car left in the front in the driveway for a couple of months. That tire will start to just sink in. You'll have to replace all 4 tires if you leave a car static because of of this kind of thing. It's really no difference. You'll first see aware patterning. So you'll see kids with hair here and hair here, but they sort of almost have like a band. That's again, to me, that's plagiocephaly. That means that they're just not moving properly. Overstimulation will go over. Lack of social interaction. Again, you think that this child has social interaction, but from afar, she can't touch you. She can't do anything. She's stuck. Delayed development and of independent sitting and crawling are the big ones. So again, here's twins. There's so much work, but you can see here, again, just the overstimulation. I don't think, again, the reason I'm saying, did you ever consider it is a good idea? I don't think people see that. I think that they see the motion, because we look for motion and all of that, and we see the cuteness factor. One of my biggest warning is, I don't want the arms to go away from the body. Guess what this device can do to your child? It's not fair to them. It's just not fair. They're learning movements that are possible that shouldn't be possible. No way can a baby sit there and cause this kind of momentum in their systems at this age. You know, like, to me, that's like shaken baby syndrome. I don't get it. And get it. I will say this, guys. I used a bouncer way back when I mean, if I'd known what I know now, I mean, I'm not getting parent of the year. That's for sure. So you think, oh, Michelle, she's sleeping. They're going to be sleeping anyway. This baby can't work on rolling. This baby can't work on, not only that, but I should have probably had more anatomy, but the sway of the back, there's nothing to oppose. Even though it's covered with a blanket, there's still a harness on this, which we'll go into. They need to work. There's an article, I wish I still had it. It's somewhere on the internet, but I was reading on helmets. And they said in their research, babies were left, if not up to, but longer than 24 hours in car seats and all of that. And that's a problem. That's really a problem. Again, the overstimulation, as you can see, like, I can't touch that toy. So visually, look at how fast this thing is going. You know what I mean? That's just, and now you've got this, you see the head pillow, you see the body thing. It's like a giant cocoon. They come with toys, lights, sounds, worst of all, vibration. Babies are not meant to have that kind of thing. It just, again, this is really key. So I'm going to read from here. Interfere with their ability to regulate their arousal levels, leading to difficulties with sleep, feeding, and overall behavior. I mean, ADD, autism are on a huge rise. And I believe it's because of the 5-point harness. The flat head, again, needing to wear a helmet. And people go, well, the helmet's not that big of a deal. Oh, yes, it is. First of all, on a 16-pound baby, a 6-ounce helmet is equivalent to, if you were 150 pounds, wearing 5 pounds, 4 ounces on your head. It's twice the size of a motorcycle helmet. And also, too, where I'd lay against the floor, I'm now, you know what I mean? Like, so it's going to change the head-spine relationship, making the head heavier. And giving you, again, limited vision, peripheral vision. That I've shown on enough videos. I can go on and on. Again, I'm not saying don't use the helmet. That's not what I'm here for. Can we prevent that conversation from even happening? Lack of social interaction. Now, here's a mom swaddling the child. I mean, he looks like a lamb ready for slaughter. There's no opposing gravity, even for a child that has respiratory issues, is not going to be addressed with. You don't think that that's going to cause a problem later on, possibly with speech and so forth. Now, I get it. I'm not here to say, oh, I did this to my child and they were fine. What I'm trying to say is, and I'm going to be covering this, was this child evaluated that this is a good idea? And the answer is no. We have no infant evaluation. The only evaluation they're now doing for babies is they put you in a car seat, which I covered in my 5 warnings of the hospital. They put you in a car seat and hook you up to a pulse ox and see if you can breathe for an hour and where your oxygen levels are at. They just, this kind of interaction has just got to stop. It's just got to stop. Because too, like this baby, mom was there, he's not looking at mom. Now I get it, this is a one-off shot, but it's just like you're just it. I don't know. It's like a straitjacket, and to say that it's a womb-like behavior, well, guess what? They're out of the womb. Now again, car seats are meant to get you from point A to point B. The fact that you can put the car seat now on the rocker, again, look at the positioning of this child. This child is off kilter, this, that, and the other. But again, you and I, if I was sitting like this and this was wrong, I could self-adjust. Guess what? He can't. There's no self-adjusting. And also too, if it's a one time he's deciding to reach and do something, and that could be a deal breaker. I go to reach, I can't reach because I'm strapped down, I'm harnessed. I do have the graph and it shows. So in 1992, we stopped sleeping babies on their back. We changed to sleeping babies on their back. And then we introduced in 94 a 5-point harness. Again, straps, and coming through the crotch, 5-point harness. The increased use of a 5-point harness and the increases of autism are almost exact. And so you're taking autism, which was 1 in 3,000 to 1 in 29 in some states. But like New Jersey has the highest rate of C-sections and such. But please, this child can't cross a visual midline. They can't grab their feet. They can't work on sitting. They can't work on, and I'm not saying never use a car seat. You have to go out. But especially after a drive, you're changing a diaper, do a little bit of pelvic movement, work a little bit on visual stimulation, even if it's just eye-to-eye contact. This conversation has got to change. Why? Because again, we're skipping the gravity milestones when you're in a container. Right? Now you're skipping transitional movements. If I'm strapped in or swaddled in, I can't work on rolling over, as an example. And then again, now it affects milestone performances. Development isn't like I'm in a car seat and, oh, I can do this, or I'm back in a, development doesn't do this. Development is usually starts to go, it's from optimal development. You'll see this here, where again, am I playing with my gravity milestones? Well, even I get it. I don't want a baby to scratch your face, but they need to be doing this with their hands and all of this sort of stuff. This is going totally into the reflex integrations. And again, when that's inhibited, but this is a gravity milestone, all the reflexes are gravity milestones, right? Because I'm opposing gravity somehow or pushing through it. And then again, I'm transitioning sometimes just from open eyes to closed eyes, open hand, but babies aren't going open and close, open, these now come later on. We have to look at infant development. So when you are risking baby container syndrome, you're risking the red. You just are. It's just pure physics. It's pure mathematics. Optimal development needs weight transfer, transitional movements, and rotational responses. That's it. That's your cocktail. Non-optional development, premature muscle activation, bypasses weight transfer. And that's where I was talking about again. But when I'm talking about containers and premature muscle activation, so am I going to start crunching because I'm trying to go against the harness? You know what I mean? Like you're going into, am I trying to reach for something and I can't because I'm strapped in? Do I have to try harder? When I hear a parent say that to a baby, oh, come on, try harder. You can do it. I'm just like, no, there shouldn't be any work to move, but it is work to move around a device. Harness warnings. And this is where I was just talking about. The straps are too much for proper spinal movements and breathing. When we breathe, we think of breath here. If I say, everybody hold their breath, and the chest is going to expand, but you should be able to breathe through your spine, through your rib cage. I mean, everything breathes in a baby. It's 360 degrees. This is the significance of tummy time, is allowing that spinal breath to happen. I just have a little munchkin, which she's involved, but we finally got a good tummy out of her, SWIT supported, but it was the first time too, she actually raised her whole chest cavity off the floor. And I was like, bam. And then the dad's like, wow, this is the first time I'm picking her up out of the car seat where she's sort of like coming to my hands versus me pulling her from the car seat. And I'm like, listen, I didn't make her stronger in 2 days. This is what we're working on. The straps are making it impossible for your baby to go into most of the reflexes, pubic bone activation, and head lift. I mean, that's it. You know what I mean? Like that's it. This child here, again, I took it the ad. These are off ads off the accounts. This child here, like, how is he going to work on any of those? And again, people are there socially interacting. If you're there to be able to be with your baby, take the baby out. Head and neck propping concerns. This is my biggest concerns. You can see here where the head is off. This little guy is not so bad, but still respiratory stresses. I mean, if I have a child, does my neck come in, must breast swallow, all of that. I'm not meant to eat back here. Like right now, if I put you on a lazy boy and asked you to drink, your coffee, you'd want to come up, you know what I mean? But you can self-regulate that, your baby can't. And lies with head and legs down for lack of pelvic restriction. So again, you're seeing this versus this. Whoops, going the wrong way. Know your baby. This is where I get into the evaluation. Here's a Bumby seat. I just posted up a video about showing the Bumby seat with or without, with a child in it. If you need to prop your baby, it is a sign or could be a sign of developmental delay. The biggest concern I have is that if you're propping your baby, that you're asking them to do milestones that they're not meant to be. I prefer, like, again, instead of the stroller with the car seat in it, because again, it's harnessed up. I love the buggies. I love the buggies. And you're saying, oh, Michelle, that's just one more thing. I'd rather you have a buggy than any of these devices swings. So, if you need to put your money in there, that's where it needs to be. Like, they don't have to see the world. They're a month old. They can just lie there, just get the fresh air, look at the trees from their backs. It's okay. They're not going to college, but you have to know your baby. If your baby is low tone or high tone, any risks at all, you've had a high risk birth or pregnancy, that's not a child for a device, period, at the end. And if you don't know how to do a movement evaluation, again, the newborn movement assessment, or there's plenty of things, but to not assess your child, especially I've seen kids literally on the bumbos fall asleep and they're just like this. I just can't imagine what it's doing to their back. So I have a bonus at the end of this. You don't have to wait to teach your child milestone experience that they're missing for their optimal development. We want the green. I get it. We're going to have to use a container. I totally concur. However, is that container the way you want your baby to develop? So again, when you're working with a new baby, you've got to jumpstart it. You've got to be involved. You have to know your child, and this is, you need a plan. Up until now, I think people just thought development just happened. And that's what it does. You're not talking to me if you're not concerned. But when development doesn't happen to the way that you need, now all of a sudden you're Googling me, and this is it. So newborn movement assessment is amazing. It is a free course that's out there, but we're just putting it into the bundle. You can be doing this all day long to your baby. You can be done to a 65-year-old. It just really is that important. And you get home videos now with Erin, and that she's working with her munchkins. It's just really something. Breathing. Again, I can't stress, if your baby, even though my baby's at 98, breath is not a problem. If it was in the first few days of life or first few months of life, maybe your baby got RSV, you have to do this program. You just have to. If the breath is not organized, it will affect your development. It just will. And then tummy time. Tummy time is really important for optimal development, but understanding really what the tummy time is, right? And what not to do in tummy time. Again, showing you what I did in the beginning and so forth. You don't let your babies don't head lift. They're not meant to head lift. They go through the pelvis and they grow like a turtle. Right? This is how head presenting should look like, not this. You and I can lift your head. No 1 month old, 5 month old babies don't lift their heads. It's not part of their development. That's a premature muscle activation, and you will not have optimal development just based off of that. And then two, you get the 30 days free, but it'll be $20 a month after it for the baby support program. The baby support program has all my courses in it. You can go from tummy time to rolling over. It has some bonuses in there, like coming to sitting and the pubic bone strike, which you can't get unless you're in the support program. And all together, again, you might just say, like, I'm not willing to invest this in my child. And I totally get that. And that's why you don't have to pay that. Right now it's $25 and it covers everything. And you have everything ready to go, and you have your support program, and you have your questions answered, and you have movement lesson, But again, at the same time too, don't look at any of my courses, especially this stage that you're learning a new modality. You're here for optimal development. Hopefully you'll learn to want to go to do movement lesson, but at the same time, you're here to help your child. I don't care. See, that's why I have so many videos out there. I could have a gazillion more videos. The question that comes in every time, yes, it says, is this okay or not okay? What should I do? It's, how can you help my baby? And it's my baby that needs help. And that's where having the evaluations come into play. There's always a 7-day money back guarantee with any of my stuff. But we're here for optimal development. Now, low responses again. When you're looking at a child just in a swing. Now, in my day, my mom had a swing. You had to hand crank it. It lasts for about 3 swings. You had to get back up again. My mom's like, well, I might as well hold the baby. But now you've got remote controls, different settings, responses. It can come with noise. Oh my gosh. No, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a Goldwing motorcycle. The biggest thing is you've got to watch out for it. Do you have immature head, body, and limb control? Now, this is, to me, just a horrific video. He's there playing guitar with his baby, but again, the baby is in a car seat. You can see right there. Now, if you just watch his feet movements, the feet now are starting to do this way. That's not conducive to rolling over, right? Because you're organizing a lift of the foot, because that's, the baby wants to respond to you. This is all I can give you. Now, typically in this position, the baby would be rolling over to daddy. Instead, again, the limbs are starting to come away. That baby should not be in that contraption whatsoever. And again, let them play with their whole body. Again, the sleeping baby. If they're crying, quick to startle, not producing the absolute horizon, tummy time, right? Difficulty with the first breath, please get support, whether it's from me or somebody else. When people say, don't worry about it, they'll grow out of it. That's not that's too many warnings for me. There's too many warnings. It's going into a deviation. So if you're saying the only way your baby can go to sleep is with this, one of the biggest reasons is gas. In a car seat, it's very difficult to eliminate gas, and gas rises. So in the transcending colon across your belly, because the colon goes up from your right side, crosses, you're ascending, you're transcending, and descending, and it goes down into eliminate. The air bubble rises. So if they're in a car seat too long, now the gas is up here. You lie them down. My kid has, if you're saying the baby's fine in a car seat and colicky, refluxy, not in a car seat, that's a conversation where your baby's now getting almost addicted, because I can't stress this enough. A baby won't do anything that's difficult or that hurts them. And so when you're putting them into a car seat, you really are risking all of that. And that is your big warning signs. And you really have to be there. I can't stress enough. It's a very simple combination of courses, and it's $25. But the most part is I hope you also realize, for free, I have the largest library of working with the human body. Take one video and do it, right? We're trying to show, again, the deviations and where it comes into when they're severe, medium. We're working on that now, from optimal to again going into developmental deviations, into developmental inabilities, becoming special needs, and then going into developmental inabilities. If you have any questions at all about your child's development, again, it's on Amazon too. Early Infant Development and Warning Signs. It's the first book showing the warning signs of all birth to 3 months. You can get your chart to download and go through it step by step. You need to know your child. And if you don't know your child, then again, call me, Zoom me. I do one-on-ones. I do clinic sessions. Get to know your child. You know, the questions are there. The group Movement Lesson for Parents and Practitioners is a great group. You know, but you have to use it. You have to use it. Try a video. This is why we do free courses here and there. But really, my main objective is to really help everyone understand development, but development through movement. The biggest misconception I think we have is that it's all about the brain, and the brain doesn't have that kind of cognition or organization when a baby is born. So we really have to go back and understand developmental movements. However, when you're signing up for your baby registry and stuff, you know, like it is a thing called baby container syndrome. The number one thing to buy a baby is something that they don't move in. And I want people not only to, I'm not here to say don't do it. I'm here to say, why shouldn't you do it? And what could you do instead? Or if you do it, what do we need to do to allow the movements that should have happened happen? And that's really is my motive. Does this work for EDS? Listen, anything, I don't know what that means. If it means, does movement lesson work for EDS or again for propping your baby? We have to start looking at, again, where your specific child is. So to answer your question specifically, what I would say to anybody is post a video in the group and I'll tell you specifically what your child needs. Because everybody organizes movements differently. Now, babies should be all on the same spectrum. To say that all babies are different, they'll figure it out themselves. No. And two, what I have to come into play is where's the deviation happening, if there is a deviation. But by all means, it helps everybody because this is just the pure physics of movement. Again, if we're talking about movement lesson, propping your baby. I get it if your baby has reflux and so forth, where the people feel that they need to do that. But again, if you feel the need to prop your baby, there's something going on. And if you feel the need to prop your baby and there's something going on, you just have a higher risk of that something going on going into developmental delays and global delays. And that's the conversation we want to shoot in the foot. We've got to stop that. And that's where the significance of just developmental movement is, and then needing to do certain things. Like I joke around, like, you know, one of my kiddos who's been walking for a while now, but he's got CP. And the mom, you could just tell that. I said, look at you now. You're not, because that you just naturally are like a helicopter mom. You're always around to make sure they don't fall. And slowly you can separate. Whereas a baby who's, and I hate to use the word typically, but typically developing, you're just like, oh, stay away from that light socket. You know, and if you like, and you're like 20 feet away and you just don't have to worry about it. Or like when I get siblings here and like they sit they're on the table, the 1-year-olds, and they're right at the edge. And I'm like, please, someone get the baby. And it's like, but they're not going to fall, but their brother will, you know what I mean? Because of their situation. And it's just, I'm so used to being around more special needs that when the children come in, it's just, and Aaron's done some great videos. I still love the video of Christina and Danielle jumping, because his jumps have that, and hers are like, I go to the edge and just fall off of it. You know, things like that. And not to say we can compare, but it's nice for people to have the visuals. But please, yes, it can help. How it's going to help you specifically to give you the best answer, I'd love to see a video. And I mean, for having 8,000 people in the group, boy, I'm sort of glad I don't have 8,000 videos to review tonight, but I would do it if I have to, because parents need help. you should have a plan anytime for any child on where they are within their development. So I hope that helps. Thanks, guys. Oops, another question. I don't know why this isn't popping up. Yes, I realize that that EDS is genetics. So when you're looking at genetics, the biggest thing with genetics is, first of all, you're going to have a low tone response, right? You're going to have usually structural deviations within the system. And then what you're going to have is within the muscle structure itself. Now, we can get in the nitty gritty. I presented this at Oxford, but within the sarcomeres, the muscle cells, they have sliding filaments, so they're told. But they studied a frog in 1954. I presented that these filaments actually are rotational, right? And so what happens is, depending on the condition, and again, usually with when you're dealing with genetics, you understand it a bit more, understand the anatomies and stuff, what's going on. But what happens is you get that hit to that myosin actin, what we say is low tone. Low tone is just a symptom, but the muscle can't go into that spin the way that it needs to. Even more so, you really have to watch how you're going to prop that child, because the way, again, you don't want the system falling away from itself. It wants to come in. But that's why everything that we do as movement lesson is working with the rotation of the body. When you have a genetic condition like that, that is the first thing. If you cannot respond with a rotational movement, if you cannot respond with a rotation, I don't care what the diagnosis is, that is the common movement diagnosis, is lack of or inability to respond with rotation, from stroke to Parkinson's to cerebral palsy to EDS. And that's the first thing you have to put in. It's something the system got traumatized for whatever reason, and that's what you have to put in. If you touch with gentle rotation, if you just do some of my basic stuff, you will start getting differences within your child's development. And that's what's important, and that's what you have to look for. So the answer is yes, but still, if I could see a video and go for it step by step, absolutely. And go from there. Thank you.